Well, good morning. How are you all today? It's a beautiful Sunday morning. Let's talk about end of the world, huh? End of the world gardening. That's what we'll talk about. Welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith, and I was out planting some things this morning, and I got to thinking. I said, there's a lot of people out there. Now, there's a lot of you that are great gardeners, and you have decades of experience, and you don't need to hear what I have to say, but you know what? If you hang around, you could probably help out the newer people in the comment section. So feel free to do that. There are a lot of people out there, and I'm going to tell you why you should garden, even those who haven't started yet. It's quite a learning experience, a learning curve, and it's a great experience. It's a great way to get outside and enjoy God's green earth and the sunshine and even the rain and even the drizzle when it happens. If you look at things right, they're all blessings. But and what a message for that on a Sunday morning, right? But there are a lot of people out there who are kind of in the beginning phases. This is what this is for. This isn't about for the master gardeners. I can't teach anything to master gardeners. There's a lot of people out there, a lot of you all probably, who live on farms or small farms or hobby farms or homesteads or something like that, and you do a lot of gardening. And you may grow most, maybe some of you, all of your produce that you eat. I find the videos about small areas, small acreage, quarter acre gardening. I find them fascinating. Now it's not something that I do, but I think that it's important that everybody be involved in gardening for this reason. And I'll explain to you a little bit about what I did this morning. And I know it would be a lot more interesting to you if I had the camera on me while I'm putting dirt in little pots and then putting in a little seedling, and talking and everything like that. But I'll be honest with you. First off, there's a lot of great videos out there already about that. And secondly, we have a lot going on around here, and I'm just not set up to be able to show you that stuff without showing you other stuff that I don't want to put on the video. Okay, so there you go. This is more to talk about the whys rather than show you the whats, because you know how to put dirt in a pot, right? And that's for people who do container gardening. Now, I did a little bit of both today. I put out some tomatoes, and I put them in a raised bed that, maybe let me back up, okay, before I tell you what I did today, as if you care. Why should you garden? If you still buy most of your stuff at the store, and I'll tell you what, I'll be honest, I buy a lot of stuff at the store. And for the most part, especially during the wintertime, we don't can here. A lot of people do, and I think it's great if you can. It's just not the lifestyle that I live. And there are many different flavors to preparing, right? But you want to learn how to do it when everything falls apart. And everything is going to fall apart. Someday, we don't know when, but the day will come, you'll wake up and everything has changed, and guess what? You'll say, grocery stores aren't open, never going to be open again. And boy, if I don't grow it or raise it, I don't eat it. So that's why you should garden, whether you're a very beginning or whether you've been at it for years, and just continue to do a small operation. And that's why I do it. First off, you can't find a store-bought tomato that tastes like a homegrown tomato or anything else, right? It's like growing money. It's cheaper. It's good. It keeps you moving, and all the things that probably you already know. But you want to keep learning. You want to learn up to the point. You want to keep experimenting with what does best. And through the years, I've experimented with putting different plants in different areers, of the property to see whether they get more sun, less sun. I know you can read it on Wiki, and you can get it off of other videos, and you can read it on the seed packet if you buy your seeds in packets. But there's nothing like learning yourself while you can still run down to the store and buy what you need. If you're if your crop of 20 tomato plants just doesn't do well, well, you're not in a bad place, right? You can run down to wherever you shop and get some for your salsa. So I went out today, and I had already prepared the raised beds to put things in. I put in the cool weather plants some time ago, the cabbages, kale and lettuce and chard and things like that. So they're already in. They're doing great. We've had a really good season. I haven't had to water hardly any. We've had good days of rain. Nothing, to beat them down, but just the right amount. And so they've been in doing well. So today I put in a bunch of tomatoes, and I'll put in peppers after I do this. I'm sitting down to have a cup of coffee. Let me take a swig first. So I'll be putting in peppers and eggplant, and then I'll be working on other stuff. But I also potted some herbs. I got all my what was that song by Simon and Garfunkel? Scarborough Fair. I got in all my Scarborough Fair herbs, parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme, and then oregano and some things like that. And I do that in two ways. I put a lot of small pots out around the deck railing. Now we're redoing the deck. I'm expanding the deck right now. So right now it's all a mess out there. We got the post holes dug. We have the posts sitting in the holes ready to be concreted in, so we can put in the framing for the deck extension. But they always sit around the deck rail, and when I get a rail up, they'll be on the new rail. So they're out there, and I put them in smaller pots, and then I put the same ones out in the front of the house, which is where we are now, which faces west, and I put them in larger pots. And the ones out here, I let them grow bigger, and they do grow. I mean, as soon as that sun starts hitting them, and about noon, well, about now, they just soak up the sun and they grow. I put them in larger pots, kind of around. I'm not going to show you, but years ago I laid a bunch of stonework out here in the front of the house. Yes, actually for defensive purposes, but it looks great. And I won't say that I'll let that go. So I put them out, in decorative pots around the front, but then in the smaller pots out on the deck, which is coming out of the kitchen, that's kind of the kitchen garden. In the morning we can walk out with some scissors and clip our herbs and whatever we want to put on our eggs or whatever we're making, or to put on my steak in the evenings and things. So it's nice so I have both. So I did a bunch of potting of the herbs today. Now when you pot, let me talk about the potting first for those of you who are, and I know this is just for you guys who are kind of thinking, I think I ought to garden, but I just don't know what to do. Not difficult. First off, I do a lot from seed. Okay. Now the things that I started from seed are not ready to go in the ground yet. As a matter of fact, a lot of them are sitting over here to my right. Can't show you because you'd see other stuff I don't want you to. Not that you're a bad person. I'm just afraid somebody else might see it. And they're not ready to put in the ground. Probably another couple of weeks they will be. But the things that I put out today were things that I got from the Kansas City Community Garden, and they are just great. So I've taken them out of their little plastic things, and with the way that you can prepare your pots, however big you want to do your pots, and I don't know what. I guess mine, I put them in 6-inch pots. It's not going to let them get really big, but I'm not going to let them get very big anyway, because I'm going to clip them and put them in my eggs and steak. So I take one of those pots, I prefer not plastic. I prefer terracotta, for a number of reasons. First off, it kind of absorbs moisture and then releases the moisture back into the soil when you need it. So anyway, I toss in a little bit of gravel on the bottom, around the drainage hole, so all the dirt doesn't wash out. And then I put in some dirt, and sometimes I'll use dirt from my own gardens, the larger raised beds or the compost pile or whatever. I always keep a couple of bags of Miracle-Gro garden soil. There's several different things there. There's garden soil, and then there's potting soil, and then there's seed starter. The 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 ground soil is meant to be used in the ground, as it would say. It's not. It doesn't percolate as well, and it means it's denser than the potting soil and the seed starter. I kind of mix them up because in pots you need to water them more frequently. You need to make sure that they're watered pretty much every day because they will dry out. The same doesn't happen when they're in the ground if you keep them mulched, and I'll get around to how I mulch them in the ground or in the raised beds in a little bit. So I toss in then kind of a mixture of garden soil. I think I said ground soil. I meant garden soil. That's what Miracle Grow costs. It has some fertilizers in it, and I'm not against it. I mean, if you can use regular stuff, like when we get out to my raised beds, I mean, when you put a hand spade in it, it almost looks like you're digging up worms instead of dirt. It's been so developed like that, and so you can't get much better than that. But in a pot, I like Miracle Grow or something like that, and sometimes I'll toss some worms in the pots. Can't get much better than worm castings. But then I also sprinkle a little bit of chicken poop around the top that has been processed, and I get that from Kansas City Community Garden too because I don't have chickens. I know my HOA would frown on that, and right here is where the person says, "What kind of a prepper can you be if you haven't lived in a place with an HOA?" I do fine, thank you. So then I'll toss in a little bit of dirt on top of the gravel. I'll stick in that seedling, and when you take the seedlings out of their little plastic containers, you'll see that the roots are all mangled up there. They've had no place to go, right? So they're all wound up and twisted up. Loosen them a little bit if you can. Don't rip them out, but just loosen them very gently with your fingertips, and so that they can kind of start to grow out from around that root ball that they have established, and then put that soil mixture around them till right up to the top, and then on the pretty much all of them, front and back, I mulch them with grass clippings. I save all my grass clippings. Now, in the front yard, here's another thing to say. I know I live in an area, all the cars are clean and all the yards are perfect, right? Okay, I don't apologize for it. I don't use the clippings from the front yard because I put weed and feed out there, right? To kill the weeds and to feed the lawn. Well, because it has chemicals in it, I don't use that for mulch. But the backyard, I never treat for anything. I let the dandelions grow because dandelions are great for your soil. You know that. It puts calcium in the soil and all sorts of things. Plus, they're great to eat. Have you ever eaten dandelion? Yeah, I just lied to you. They're not great to eat unless you fix them up. It's kind of like, remember when Crocodile Dundee told that woman who had come down to do a story on him or something? He says, "Oh yeah, you can eat this," and so she took a bite and she said, "Ugh," and he says, "Well, it'll keep you alive, but it tastes like poop." Yeah. Well, dandelions, if you just eat them, pretty much every part of a dandelion is edible. Did you know that? They're not that good, but you can use them. You can put them in salads. You can grill them up, and you can do things to make them edible and nutritious. Okay. So anyway, in the back, I let my dandelions grow, and then when I bag the grass in back. I don't bag the grass in front. I let that stuff go back into the soil. I bag it and I put it over my compost pile, and then it degrades. But I use it for the part that hasn't degraded yet. I use that for my mulch, and it's great mulch. Why do anything else, right? I haven't taken down a tree this year, so I haven't had any wood chips to do it with. Wood chips are great, but grass is great too. One more sip. Well, another sip. I'm sure I'll be taking another one. So I got those all potted, and I'll pot the ones for the front a little bit later. So the ones that I put out, the tomatoes that I put out in the raised beds, first off, like I said, the soil has been out there just doing great for years. And I put in my posts. I put in some T-posts and some other things to tie the tomatoes up with. I won't get into pruning and everything right now. I tell you what, you got the right soil, you got the right sunshine, and you got the right um, water. You know, um, tomatoes are going to grow, peppers are going to grow, all these things are going to grow. They will produce a lot more if you prune them properly. Watch other videos about pruning. So anyway, so I went out and I planted a bunch of tomatoes on there, and there too, I just what I do, I just dig a little spade hole. I toss some compost in the hole. I put the soil back in. I sprinkle a little bit of rabbit poop around it, or chicken poop around it, and then I cover it up with grass mulch, and that stuff. I mean, I've had the grass mulch out there. Well, it doesn't take long for it to really create good soil under that. I'll just put it that. I mean, I when I get ready to plant, I scrape away the grass, and man, I mean, that stuff is just like, it's almost, it kind of is like coffee grounds. It's just so good and percolative, and the worms are just all over the place, right? So I got that in. Now, the whole thing is this: why do this? I know I got to talking about it because I enjoy it, right? So I'm talking. You talk about what you enjoy. The thing is, if it all falls apart, if everything comes crashing down, like in my books, um, you don't want to be trying to learn how to raise your own food. Now, I will say this: if it all came crashing down, like in my books, the whole world fell apart, we wouldn't stay here for a long time. We don't. We live in a very nice part of town, and these aren't the kind of people that would, be coming after you for your can of beans. Not for a while, but a lot of it would get dicey in a number of ways. Okay, so within a few weeks, we would be gone from here, and we would be at one of our alternative locations. And we would have with us enough food to last for a couple of years. But during that time, excuse me just a second, I had to sneeze. But during that time, you need to start producing. And, your stores, your food stores, allow you to get through short-term situations. Short term can be anything, from a month to however long you have food stored for. But it allows you to stay alive and do well while you are developing your ability to farm or ranch or whatever it is. And I'll tell you right now, I was going to do a separate one on this. I might still. What's better, farming or ranching? A lot more people are into farming than ranching. I'll tell you that ranching can be better. And of course, a lot of people do both, crops and animals. I think that's a great way to go. But, okay, I'm going to stop right there. I'll save that for when I talk about comparing the two, farming versus ranching. So anyway, when you're gardening, you're not only doing a lot of good stuff for yourself right now. Like I say, you're getting out in the fresh air, you're moving around, you're lifting stuff, you're developing, you're maintaining strength, maybe even developing strength, depending on, what you're doing. You are increasing or maintaining your flexibility. You're getting the vitamin D from God's good sun. And you're participating in the process that you're supposed to be, and that is growing the food that sustains you. And you're learning a lot, and you have fun. So it improves your life now. And whenever people come over and we have some of our tomatoes or something like that, if they don't garden and they taste our tomatoes, they're like, oh my gosh, wow, and you all know that. So it'll prove now, but whether the world comes to an end in our lifetime or not, and by that I don't mean the end times, but I mean the collapse. Even if it doesn't, it's going to improve the quality of your life. It's going to improve the quality of your diet. And it doesn't really matter where you are. I've known people that had almost whole gardens on their apartment deck. I mean, they have everything. It kind of depends on which direction your apartment is facing. But you can do it wherever you are. And like I say, it improves the quality of your life now. But it also will develop skills that you will really need when everything comes tumbling down, so that all you have to do, you don't have to learn how to grow food. All you have to do is to increase the amount you're growing. But you already have the skills because you've been doing it now, right? Okay. Man, I hope it's as beautiful where you are as it is here. Eastern Kansas, but we're taking a trip up a little bit, I think next month. We're taking a trip up through Colorado and Wyoming and Montana, Washington State, Oregon, and then Utah. I'm sorry, I forgot Utah, Idaho. We're going all up through there next month, and I'm looking forward to it. We always enjoy traveling as a family. I'm sure, and I'm doing that to do a little research. We have something going on. I'm doing a little research for a book, and we love doing that. And it brings to mind the different climates there are, and the different places, from which you have to choose. Some are great for growing, and some just aren't. That's something to take into consideration for those of you looking for land. Eastern Kansas here, I just love it. Lived here all my life. It's a lot like Western Missouri, and things grow well. It's the climate that I like. Yeah, it gets to be 100 degrees and high humidity, and you feel like you're dying. It's worse than 114 in Phoenix. And then it gets cold and it gets 0, but the high humidity makes it feel like it's cold. But for the most part, it's great. So anyway, gardening for the end of the world. Get out there and do something. Are you not doing anything yet? Go down today. Go down to your hardware store or whatever. Get a 5-gallon bucket and some soil, and get a tomato plant or a pepper plant or something. Go home, stick it in there, and watch Johnny grow. And you will open your eyes to a whole new world, and you'll realize that you're starting to take responsibility for your own maintenance, sustenance, and life. Okay? All right. Hey, as it says on the back of the Stone Mott Summer Gathering mug, by the way, next one's coming up October 4th. Put it on your calendar. I'll be giving you more information later. But as it says on the back of the mug, we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. So get out there and grow something and eat it. It'll change your life. All right? You all have a great day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.